How do we keep faith, which you say is new to us, separate from politics? You have in the past, for example, I remember when Anna Hazare was launching his anti-corruption movement, you did come and applaud it, but you said that the Lokpal was not some magic wand. I remember you saying that. Do you believe that we are seeing a dangerous cocktail of faith and politics getting more and more mixed up?
See, it is happening, I'm not saying no, but it's much less than ever before.
Really?
Yes.
It seems to be much more than ever
No,
before.
that's because of you. That's because if 10 people get beheaded in some remote part of Iraq, you make sure the blood spills into my sitting room because of that. Otherwise, you're sitting here now. Today, let's say 1,000 years ago we were sitting here, 1,000 people got killed in Iraq. We will sit here peacefully thinking world is going really great, springtime, everything is nice. So, this is because the dissemination of information, if 10 people get killed somewhere, it's a huge thing because it comes into our sitting rooms, bedrooms, dining room, everywhere there's a television. So it pours into our homes, so it is happening. So this is good because even a small thing looks magnified now in people's experience. But this has been happening always, it's happening at its lowest level now. Here and there it spurts up, which need to be controlled for sure. But what I see is, for the very first time in the history of humanity, even if the numbers are not qualified because the population has increased, even in terms of percentages of people, how many people can think for themselves today is huge compared to what it was 100 years ago, 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or 10,000 years ago. All these centuries, there would be one man in the village who thinks for you, who reads for you, who writes for you. You just have to do what you have to do, simple things. Today everybody is able to think for himself or herself. Now, human intellect is blossoming, I do not say it is blossoming in the right direction, with the right sense, no. Insanely it is blossoming, it doesn't matter, insanity will happen for some time, people will come to their senses. When something is new, they'll go crazy, after some time, they'll come to senses. Once human intellect blossoms sufficiently on the planet, then this looking upward for well-being will not make sense, believe me. Right now, from looking upward, slowly the world is tilting. In pursuit of human well-being, people were looking heavenward. Still many are, that's different. But a whole lot of people have started looking outward. So if you look heavenward, hallucinations will happen, wars will happen. Because my heaven and your heaven different, you know.
Yeah.
None of the heavens have anything for women, you better know that.
I'm definitely going to hell. Anyway…
So you believe in heaven and hell?
I was being facetious.
Let me finish this.
I was being facetious. I don't know if there is
That's
somebody
fine.
up there.
That is fine.
Is it a force?
No, I'm
is it
saying
an energy? Is that
this thing
inside
about looking heavenward is slowly going away, and in pursuit of well-being, people are looking outward. This is ripping the planet apart. Human pursuit of well-being is just destroying the planet. Now, the fundamentals of what we are transmitting, the fundamentals of this culture, which is essentially rooted in the yogic culture, what you call as Indian culture or Hindu culture, is essentially a pure yogic science. In the form of culture, it finds many colors and distortions, which is what you're seeing as a Hindu culture or Indian culture, whatever you want to call it.
But they're not interchangeable terms. Because we're a multi-religious country with many different cultures.
I want you to understand, the word Hindu does not signify a religion. You ask them, do they worship one god if they're Hindus? In the same family, they're worshipping 25 gods. They don't know which is the god, so they're making sure worship everything just in case something will hit, okay? Now, the word Hindu means the land between Himalayas and Indus-Sagara. This land, this subcontinent is Hindu. All people who are born here are considered Hindu because it's a geographical identity. I know this whole political issue, if I speak like this, they say, oh, he's Hindu.
No, I mean, people will tell you you're echoing the RSS chief.
I don't know what he said, I'm not…
He said all Indians are Hindus, and there was a huge political outcry over that.
Okay, all Indians live between Himalayas and Indian Ocean.
That's okay.
Those who want to jump into the ocean… If you live… see, this is a dialectical culture, it expresses things in a certain way. Between Himalayas and Indian Ocean, if you live, you are a Hindu. If you jump into the ocean and cross, you are a Lanka. So, I don't know what is the struggle about this. This is because there is such a narrow understanding of this. This is the debate we have to change in the country. Because somebody has absolute belief systems, we are trying to compare that to a culture where there is no such thing as belief. We have not ever been believers, we've always been seekers. This is a land where the highest value has never been God, always liberation, mukti. Freedom is the highest goal, God has never been the highest goal. So, you put this in the same box as something which just believes this is it or you're dead. Unfortunate. That's not the way to look at it. This is what we have to bring back. If we really value human freedom, you must bring back this seeking for liberation. I want to be free, not just from others, but from myself and my God and my heaven and everything. Because God has never been the goal in this culture. God is just another tool. When I use the word tool for a God, people get very hurt. They say, Sadhguru, don't say that, it hurts us. So that's okay. You come to the ashram, I'll give you some plumbing job, all right?
That'll hurt more.
No. No spanner, no winch, nothing. Use your fingers, nails, teeth, whatever. 3 days later, nails will be gone, half the teeth will be gone. Then I will give you a spanner. Will you worship the spanner or no? We are who we are. As human beings, we are who we are only because of our ability to use a tool. Otherwise, you're not even good as a dog. You can't even fight a dog, isn't it?
So you're against organized religion? Quite clearly, if God is just a tool and faith is not the same as spirituality…
I'm not saying I'm against this or that. All I'm saying is, I want human beings to come to this much. If you know something, you know it. If you don't know something, you don't know it. Everything that you do not know, you believe. This is a dangerous thing. Now, the fight on the planet is not between good and evil, this and that, no. One man's belief versus another man's belief. I'm saying, why the hell do you believe anything? Because you're essentially not straight enough to admit, I really don't know. I don't know people can't fight. I don't know, you don't know, can we fight? I know is a fight. I do not know is never a fight. I do not know is a way of seeking. If we do not establish this seeking in every human being, that every human being is longing to know, whether outside or inside, whatever, you are… because this is the nature of human intelligence, it can't sit quiet. It can only sit quiet if you freeze it with belief system. If you seal it with belief system, it can sit quiet. Otherwise, the very nature of this intelligence is it wants to know.
You said that sleep means close your eyes and unaware, and meditation means okay, close your eyes but be aware. Can we do, with regard to this, can we do the meditation with open eye?
Once there was a Sufi master. His name was Ibrahim. In Ibrahim's ashram there were many people. One day, 2 disciples met in his garden, the ashram. Both were little frustrated. And both of them said, I wish we could smoke. They want to smoke. But they're in an ashram. So then they talked about it for some time and said, why don't we go and ask the master, can we smoke? They decided to go and ask him separately. Then next evening, One man was again sitting in the same spot, frustrated. Another man came smoking. Hey, you're smoking. How can you smoke? Master told me not to smoke. What did you ask him? He said, I asked him, can I smoke when I'm meditating? He said, no. How are you smoking? He said, that's your problem. I asked him, can I meditate when I'm smoking? He said, okay. So, right now, can I meditate with my eyes open? No. With eyes open, can I be meditative? Yes. But in my meditation, can I open my eyes? No. Okay? In fact, the samyama we are talking about, we mentioned something about samyama? Yeah. The samyama meditations are basically to train you to meditate with eyes open. So that 24 hours, no matter what you're doing, you're constantly meditating actively. With eyes open, in all the activity that you perform, you can become active meditation. Then it's a different world by itself. So samyama meditations are for that purpose, to train you to open eyes and meditate. But don't attempt shunya with eyes open. With eyes closed, staying aware, you know how many problems you have. You open your eyes, where all you will go. That's a time where she needs to be cared for, protected, taken care of. But over a period of time, somebody makes this a discriminatory process. We are born from that. If that is impure, our very birth is impure and the creation is impure. Now this… you made a very sweeping statement, a prejudice from the spiritual dimension. I want you to understand, spiritually, there is no mention of menstrual cycles anywhere because spiritually you cannot have only physiologically you can have, okay? So it's a physiological issue which reflects as a psychological factor in a certain segment of women, I wouldn't say everyone, but quite a substantial segment of women find a reflection of their physiological process in their psychological makeup, which is a fact that has to be taken care of. If this is being said only because some temples and other things have said women cannot enter at that time, you need to understand this, from where this comes from. Today's woman, you forget how she's equipped, how she's capable of handling her bodily needs and other things are a different matter. I want you to look back 1,000 years ago. What kind of sanitary facilities did she have? What kind of processes did she have? So, there could be issues about that, isn't it? It's only for that reason, they said, and above all, you need to understand the level of physical activity for a normal woman in those days. Cooking for 15, 20 people, taking care of the cows, taking care of the children, everything is hers. It's a tremendous amount of physical activity. So, the woman who is going through a certain process of her cycle, she gets 3 days, 4 days break from everything. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Because that's a time where it is almost like a molting period for a woman on one level. It's not as big as molting, but it's almost like that. That's a time where she needs to be cared for, protected, taken care of. Somebody else cooks for you, which never happens in her life. Every day she cooks, for those 4 days somebody else cooks for her, somebody else serves her food, she sits alone by herself, she meditates, she sings, she does prayer. Isn't this a good way of doing things, I'm asking? Do not consider this as today's life. Look back 1,000 years ago when these things were made. It was a very good way of protecting our women. But over a period of time, somebody makes this a discriminatory process. A woman should not come here, should not come there. That is just out of ignorance, certain things happen. It has nothing to do with the spiritual world, because if my mother did not have menstrual cycles, I wouldn't be born. We are born from that. If that is impure, our very birth is impure and the creation is impure. It's a ridiculous thought even to think like that. It is not because of purity and impurity this has come. It has come for practical reasons. Even today I meet thousands of women who suffer a lot at that time because they still have to go to work, they still have to deal with everything.
There are many of them who are on medication at that time just to keep their psychological balance. They would definitely enjoy rest. They would definitely enjoy a little bit of seclusion from everything that they are doing. But thinking it is pure impure question is coming in a very rudimentary mind. It is no sense in… no fundamental sense about life.
Jesus said, if someone slaps you, turn and show the other cheek. Is such a teaching relevant today?
If Jesus might have said that to the 12 people who were around him, that's not a general teaching. To his apostles, people who carry his message, he's telling them, if somebody slaps you one side, show them the other cheek. He's not telling that to the whole world. Man, the way he lived, he is not the kind to show another cheek. He comes into the temple and throws out all the business. So he didn't say, okay, you got one shop here, keep another shop there. Did he say that? Physically, with bare hands, he's destroying their business, isn't it? He is not the kind of man who'll show his other cheek to everybody. He's telling his apostles, if you want to carry my message, you must be like this. No resistance in you. No matter what people do, you don't deviate from your path, you just stick to your path. That's all he's telling you. Because these cultures are very dialectical, everything is said with an example or a kind of, an analogy. He is saying that if somebody slaps you on one cheek, show them the other, don't deviate. If somebody slaps you on one cheek, if you try to slap him on the other cheek, on his cheek, then you're deviating from your path of peace and love, isn't it? So he's saying, do not deviate from your path. Just stick to your path, no matter what somebody does. All he's telling you is, do not become a reaction in your life. If you want to act in your life, you should not react. If you react, you will get enslaved to somebody else. You'll go behind those people. So he's just telling you, do not react. That's his way of saying it. So that's not to be taken literally. Life demonstrates he didn't take it literally, isn't it?
In the all-new series, The Truth About Jesus on Sadhguru Exclusive, find out more about the intriguing birth, life and teachings of this wonderful being. Get a yogic perspective on whether Jesus was really born to a virgin and Sadhguru's insights about the teachings of Jesus.
Is such a thing possible? It could have been initiated by these three people.
If you do not create genetic distance, the old cycles of patterns will take effect whether you like it or you don't like it. This is the most beautiful story about him, that he was an immensely joyful and loving human being.
So Jesus versus yoga.
No, he is my party. I don't see him as anything different.
There is something called as mysticism, not because there is such a thing. Because human beings are determined to live in ignorance, there is mysticism. All that they're ignorant of, they will label it as mystery, isn't it? There's nothing mysterious about it, yet it's simply there. It is your limitations which make something mysterious, isn't it so? It's your inability to grasp which makes something mysterious, not the nature of what it is. So, beyond darkness, what is? All that you cannot grasp is darkness. That's the whole thing. What you can grasp is so small. If you know 1,000 galaxies, still it is too small in the cosmic scape of existence. And all that you do not know invariably is darkness. So, this vast space of darkness is not a substance. Darkness
is not a thing. Absence of light is darkness. Absence of perception is darkness. Absence of knowing is darkness. That is the ultimate thing, because there is too much that is not known to you, so it's dark. So darkness does not mean a thing. It is not something that's beyond your perception, so it's dark. So, all that is dark and beyond your perception, say this is Shiva, because it's a limitless expanse. A limitless expanse of ignorance, but there is no limitless expanse of knowledge. Knowledge is always be large, but still very limited. Only ignorance can be limitless. So Shiva is also referred to as Bholinath, the ignorant. He's the Lord of ignorance. How's that? You don't like it? You don't like it, isn't it? Should be the Lord of knowing. No, he's also that. He's Gnaneshwar. But that's a small aspect of him. But in real sense, he's the Lord of ignorance, because that is the largest cape in the existence is ignorance, and that's darkness. Oh, who would want to seek it? If you only explore your ignorance, knowledge will be born, isn't it? If you explore knowledge, nothing new will be born. Just recycling of rubbish will happen. Only if you explore ignorance, knowing can be born.
The word samsara does not mean family. It just means cycling. Who you are right now is a product of certain cycles. There are many ways to look at it. The cycles of the sun, the cycles of the moon, and various other cycles in the universe. We are a product of that. Only because our mothers' bodies were in sync with the cycles of the moon, we are born here. So we are a product of cycles. Our idea of time is cyclical. If the planet spins once, we say it's a day. If the moon goes around, we say it's a month. If the planet goes around the sun, we say it's a year. Our idea of time itself is cyclical. If it was all like this, going like this, you wouldn't know what is time, because there are no markers anywhere. If the planet was just going straight somewhere, would you know what is time? Only because it's in cycles, you're able to decipher as to what is time. You're able to measure a certain length of time. And your life is a certain amount of time. And it is going in cycles, because it's a product of this. Solar system is like the potter's wheel which has generated this. So time and the cycles of time. Either you can be trapped in the cycles of time, or you can ride the cycles of time. If you're trapped in the cycles of time, we say you're in samsara. Because life becomes cyclical and it keeps repeating. Psychologically, physiologically definitely there are cycles. The monthly cycles in a woman's body are related to the moon. There are other cycles which are related to the sun, which are not so obvious as the cycles of the moon, but they're happening. If you observe your life carefully, you will see it is cyclical. Same things are repeating themselves in different colors, but same things are repeating themselves over a period of time. You can actually look whether it is 12 years, it's 6 years, it's 3 years, it's happening at some point. If it is happening in very short cycles, you're heading towards a psychological breakdown. If it's happening in long enough cycles, you're just suffering boredom. So if you're trapped in these cycles, we call it samsara. If you ride the cycles towards your liberation, then we say this is sannyas.
Sannyas need not necessarily mean not having a family. Samsara need not necessarily mean that you have a family. You can be a sannyasi and still be in a samsara of your own. You need not be married. By yourself, you could be wrangled up by yourself. If you get married, extra help you get. People are alone and they're quite wrapped up by themselves, they don't need anybody's help. They're doing fine by themselves, their own samsara. Is it happening or no? Single people are in their own samsara or no? They're into their own chakkar going. When you get married, at least you can blame it on somebody, it's because of her I'm like this, or because of him I'm like this. So these words have gotten related to certain aspects of life because generally it's believed that you can be trapped in samsara only when you have a family. Because once you have a family, you have to earn certain amount of money, you have to do certain things, children are there, means certain things have to be managed, so things become cyclical. When things are going in cycles, it feels that everything is better organized. If it was not going in cycles, every day is a new day. With children around you, every day new day, you can't deal with it. It's better it is happening in some system. So you will aspire for a cycle. You will not want new things to be happening every day. You want some order, you want some expected things to happen. Surprises look like disasters. This happened one day. Shankaran Pillai was going home. And suddenly he thought, he's done nothing for his wife in the last few years. So, he bought a huge bunch of red roses and went home and knocked on the door. And when she opened the door, with a big grin on his face, he tried to give the roses to her. She just blew up. She just blew away and she said, "You fool, you know since morning the tap has been leaking, the dog has been sick, and the children had a food fight, I've been cleaning the whole place, and now you have the courage to get drunk and come home?" So surprises can be disasters because you aspire for order more than excitement. Once the number of balls that you're juggling are too many, you aspire for order, you don't care for excitement anymore. Yes. If you had 5 children at home instead of 1 or 2, then you would aspire for everything to happen like clockwork. You don't want one extra thing to happen. You don't want anything new to happen in your house. So this is samsara. You want to go in cycles, you're aspiring to be in cycles because cyclical, at least there is a comfort, you know what's coming next. So once you go in cycles, cycle means a circle. If I say you're going in circles, it simply means that you're not getting anywhere. So in the cycles of time, if you're trapped in the cycles of time, you're not getting anywhere but going through the same thing. Because you have poor memory, that's the only safety. Because you have poor memory, you do not realize the same things are being repeated. Suppose your memory opened up to many lifetimes and you realize you've been doing the same stupid things over and over again, you got excited about the same little things again and again, you would feel utterly silly, isn't it? Within the cycle, that cycle means so much. Looks like it's everything. If you break that cycle and something beyond the cycle becomes apparent to you, suddenly what's within the cycle is so limited and so meaningless. The relationships,
The activity, the thoughts, the emotions, everything that you held as everything in your life, suddenly, pff. So this is sannyas. That is, you've broken the cycles of time. You're riding the cycles. You're not trapped in the cycles of time. So can I do this within the family? You can, but nobody need to know. If they know, they won't be able to live with you unless they are also like. People are looking for some bondage. People don't come together seeking freedom. They're coming together seeking bondage, isn't it? If they know that you're not bound by anything, it'll be dangerous to live with a person like that. So, once you've broken the cycles of time, consciously you can be part of it when you want to be. But when you're not, you're not. So, being a sannyasi inside a family situation is not that it's not possible. This is not being uncaring, this is not being unconcerned. This is just being free from a certain situation. There are many people who live in the family and they don't care a damn. That's different. That is because they're in their own samsara, they're not involved with other samsara. They're in a smaller cycle of their own. Being absolutely involved and not being entangled, that is the way to freedom, that is the way to liberation. If you're not involved, you may be just uncaring, you will be in your own small chakkar of your own. You will see people who seem to be not involved in anything around them, little things about themselves are very important for them. If you disturb that, they'll go crazy. Yes? Have you seen? They don't care if whatever the family, but their coffee must be right. Coffee doesn't come, they'll go crazy. So they'll have smaller cycles. So being a sannyasi within a family situation, it is not that it's not possible, it's a bigger challenge. If you're a sannyasi by yourself, nobody around you, it's a lesser challenge because you don't have to carry anything with you. When Gautama, the Buddha, was asked, is it good to walk in company or alone? He's a very brutal man. He said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. He's saying, who else will marry you? You're not getting… Who else will marry you? Unless he is a fool, why will he be with you? Better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. It's a loaded statement.